How are you? I hope that you and your family are okay. It's been a year since we are on lockdown, but let's be grateful that we are all fine. Let's always unite in prayer that we will be safe and healthy as well as our family all the time. Let us pray. God, thank you for this wonderful day. May you bless us all with your strength and wisdom. Please keep our families safe and healthy, especially during this pandemic. We ask for your forgiveness for all the sins that we have done. Lead us closer to you, O Lord, and fill our hearts with your everlasting love. Amen. Every year, our school holds a literary presentation wherein we gather to recite poems, read stories, and even sing songs. This year will be a little different. We may experience challenges during this pandemic, but it does not hinder us from having our own version of literary presentation virtually. That's why today we are happy to share with you our story entitled Unity Begins in Me. Are you ready? Let's begin.
There are 4 friends who were assigned to do a school project. The project was about on how to make the community in their school better. They shared their ideas, but others didn't agree to it. Then they started to argue.
Hi guys, how are you? I tried to make the speech last night and I share it with you. I also read yours. Have you read mine? I guess my ideas are brilliant.
I read the speech that you shared with us, Kylie, and I'm not satisfied with it. I don't agree with your ideas. I'm not sure if it will help the community in our school. So let's just change it and use mine instead.
What? Change it and use yours? My ideas have more sense and I don't even agree with the speech that you wrote.
Why won't you agree with it? I think it's way better than what you've shared.
Hey, why don't we use mine?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure about that.
Guys, stop it. How about we use my speech instead?
My ideas are better.
Use my speech.
Guys, we should stop fighting. It won't help complete our task. We should work together. Isn't that what's important?
Okay, I think it's better if we schedule another meeting for this.
Okay.
It's fine with me.
The 4 friends decided to schedule another meeting for the planning of their tasks since they are already arguing with each other.
They were so tired, so some of them decided to watch some movies on their laptop, some were scanning some videos on their phone, some were checking their emails. Then something strange happened.
I'm so tired today. Let me watch some movies here on my laptop.
I hope we can come up with a good plan next time. Anyway, let me watch some videos here.
Oh, I guess I need a break. But before that, let me check my email first.
It's been a long day. I hope next time we can have a better meeting. Let me check my email today. What's this link?
What's this
Let me
link
check
all
this
about?
out.
Let me see it.
As soon as the 4 friends clicked the link that they have received, a strange thing suddenly happened. It seems like each of them were teleported into different worlds.
Oh no! What happened? Where am I?
What happened?
Oh no! What happened? Where am I?
Oh no, what happened? Where am I?
Hi! How are you? You must be wondering where you are. But let me tell you a story about The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day, the boy would come and he would gather her leaves and make them into crown and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And they would play hide and go seek. And when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went by, the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone.
Then one day,
to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches, and eat apples and play in my shed and be happy."
I'm too big to climb and play, said the boy. I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money.
"I have only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you will be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away. The tree was happy.
But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day, the boy came back and the tree shook with joy, and she said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and be happy." "I am too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm," he said. "I want a wife and I want children, so I need a house. Can you give me a house?"
"I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house, but you may cut off my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy." And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and he came back, and the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered. "Come and play," said the tree.
"I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?"
"Cut down my trunk and make a boat," said the tree. "Then you can sail away and be happy." And so the boy cut down her trunk and made a boat and sailed away. And the tree was happy, but not really. And after a long time, the boy came back again. "I am sorry, boy," said the tree. "I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone."
"My teeth are too weak for apples," said the boy.
"My branches are gone," said the tree. "You cannot swing on them."
"I'm too old to swing on branches," said the boy.
"I am sorry," sighed the tree. "I wish that I could give you something, but I have nothing left. I am just an old stump. I am sorry."
"I don't need very much now," said the boy. "Just a quiet place to sit and rest. I am very tired."
"Well," said the tree, straightening her up as much as she could. "Well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Come, boy, sit down. Sit down and rest." And the boy did, and the tree was happy. And that's the story of the giving tree.
Helping Others by Roy Lee Barrett. If you help others with all your might, the strength you derive from their delight will pull you up to greater heights. Helping Others by Roy Lee Barrett.
Hi, how are you? Today we will tell you a story about the rescuers down under. Story written by Neil Morris. The young boy was fast asleep in his little house in the Australian outback, but he was soon woken by a strange droning noise. The boy knew exactly what that sound meant, and he was out of bed and dressed in seconds. Then he crept quietly out of the house. "Cody!" It was his mother's voice. "What about your breakfast?" "I got a sandwich in my pack," Cody shouted back. "Well, be home for supper," his mother said. Cody listened again for the droning noise and ran up towards the forest. Cody had with him a flock of birds, a family of wombats, and an ant eagle. There, in the middle of the clearing, was a kangaroo blowing into the hollow branch of a fallen log. "Who's been caught this time?" "Follow?" Cody asked the kangaroo. "You don't know her," Follow replied. "Her name is Marahut, the golden eagle. She's caught high on a cliff on a poacher's plot. You're the only one who can reach her. I'll get her loose." "I'll get her loose," the boy promised, climbing onto Follow's back. At once, the kangaroo bounced off through the forest. She finally stopped at the foot of a steep cliff. "Be careful, little friend," said Follow to Cody, who was already clambering the cliff. It was a difficult, dangerous climb, and Cody was relieved when he reached the top. There was a gigantic eagle, pinned to the rock by tangles of ropes. "Marahoot!" the boy whispered, taking out his pocket knife to cut his magnificent bird free. The eagle struggled and screeched. As soon as she could move her wings, she flew away from the cliff, knocking Cody off balance. The boy yelled as he plunged over the edge of the cliff. Down and down he fell until suddenly he made the softest of landings. The eagle had swooped beneath him, and now Cody was safe on her back. Marahoot squawked as she flew up past the highest peak, on up above the clouds, and then quickly down to the forest below. Cody loved every minute of his wonderful flight, but it wasn't over yet. Marahoot flew high above a deep canyon, and his eyes lit up when he saw some eggs in the nest. "You're a mom!" he said excitedly. "Are you going to hatch soon?"
Marahoot squawked proudly. "Where's Daddy Eagle?" asked Cody. When he saw Marahoot's head drop, he reached out to stroke her. "My dad's gone too," he said gently. Just then, a beautiful feather blew out of Marahoot's nest. Cody caught it and he looked at the eagle and laid the feather back in her nest. But Marahoot picked the feather up and gave it to Cody. The boy was so pleased that he threw his arms around the eagle's neck. Then Marahoot returned Cody to the forest. As the boy started off on his way home, he heard a bell tinkling and a mouse dangling from a twig. He went at once to free the mouse, but it was a trap. As soon as he touched the twig, Cody plunged down a deep hole. The mouse tried to help him out, but scrambled into Cody's backpack when he heard someone approaching. It was Percival McLeach, a wanted poacher, who ranged the outback in a huge truck called a bushwhacker. With him was his enormous pet lizard, who snarled viciously at Cody. "Well, Joanna, what did we get today? A dingo, a fat old pig, or a nice, big boy?" This was more surprising than anything he had ever caught. McLeach pulled Cody out of the hole and tried to pretend that it wasn't a trap. But Cody wasn't convinced. "This is a poacher's trap and you're a poacher," he cried. At that moment, Joanna spotted the mouse poking out of Cody's backpack and was determined to catch it. She leapt on Cody, who fell over and accidentally knocked McLeach into the hole. McLeach was furious. "I'm going to kill that slimy egg-sucking salamander," he growled.
He was just about to punish the lizard when he spotted the eagle feather sticking out of Cody's backpack. Said, "Where you get this pretty feather, boy?" he asked in his nicest voice. "It's a secret," stammered Cody. "That's no secret, boy," McLeish said with an evil voice, as he took another feather from his shirt. "You see, I already got the feather. Now, you just tell me where Mama and those little eggs are." "No!" yelled Cody, running off as fast as he could. As he did so, the mouse slipped out his backpack. Poor Cody didn't get very far. McLeish and the lizard cornered him at the edge of a cliff. McLeish grabbed the boy's backpack and threw it into the river far below. When the pack hit the water, Crocodile tore at it with a razor-sharp tip. "Let's go, boy," said McLeish, pushing him back through the forest and pounding him into a cage. On a cage of bushwhacker drug. As the bushwhacker drove off, the little mouse watched in horror, then quickly scurried away. He had seen and heard everything, and now was the time for action. When he reached a small pond, he dived in the middle of the pond was a milk carton on top of an old boat time sign read, "Rescue with Society Telegraph Office." "Send for help!" the mouse squealed. "McLeish has taken a little boy!"
At once, a mouse telegraph operator tapped out the message in Morse code. from telegraph office to telegraph office, from computer to computer. The message raced across the world to the headquarters of the Rescue Aid Society, or RAS for short. This was situated in the basement of the United Nations building in New York. When the urgent message arrived, the RAS chairmouse sent for the society's two finest agents, Bernard and Miss Bianca.
The two daring rescuers were having dinner that evening in New York. They were in a mouse restaurant which was hidden on top of a chandelier in a human restaurant. While they dined, Bernard was rehearsing a little speech. Tonight, he intended to ask Miss Bianca to marry him. But just as he was about to present her with an engagement ring, it rolled out of his pocket onto the floor.
While he was searching frantically for it, Miss Bianca was accepting the RAS mission. It was snowing when the two rescuers reached the rooftop heliport. From where they would start their mission, there an old birdhouse was a sign that read, "All you choose air," and on the birdhouse door they spotted another sign under new punishment, "See Wilbur." As they entered, they were astonished to see Wilbur, the albatross, singing and dancing to music, flowing from the tape deck.
We need to charter a flight to Australia, said Bernard. That's a fabulous idea, said Wilbur. So, when shall I pencil you in? Mid-June be very nice. Oh no, replied Miss Bianca. We must leave tonight. Tonight? Gasped Wilbur in horror. You're kidding me, right?
But when he saw that they weren't kidding and heard that the little boy had been kidnapped, Wilbur agreed to take off immediately. Bernard and Miss Bianca sat in a sardine tin strapped to Wilbur's back. Fortunately, the albatross had no intention of flying around the world under his own power. He took a lift on a jet airplane, stowing away in the plane's undercarriage, and when the wheels were lowered for landing at Sydney Airport, Wilbur flew off to continue the journey to Mugwump Flats, the rescuers' destination.
At Mugwump, the runway was a small corrugated iron roof. At first, the air traffic controller, a kangaroo mouse named Jake, refused Wilbur permission to land, but the albatross was having none of that. "Look, pal, I can land this thing anywhere," he boasted, and at last the rescuers touched down with something of a pump. Politely, Wilbur tried to help his passengers with their language, but that proved to be a mistake. Wilbur was not the fittest bird, and he injured his back.
Jake got him at once to the local mouse hospital on a Manion ambulance. The last that Miss Bianca and Bernard saw of him was being lowered into a bed through a hole in the roof. "Don't leave me here," he called, but Miss Bianca wanted to set off without delay to rescue Cody. So leave they must. "So which way are you taking?" asked Jake. "Suicide Trail through Nightmare Canyon or the shortcut at Satan's Ridge?" "Suicide Trail?" stammered Bernard. "Good choice," said Jake. "More snakes but less quicksand. Now what you really need is someone who knows their territory." "Oh, Mr. Jake, will you guide us?" Miss Bianca asked, somewhat to Bernard's annoyance.
The kangaroo mouse agreed at once, and the three of them set off on the back of a squirrel. But it was a flying squirrel, and it wasn't long before Bernard was thrown off. Miss Bianca rushed to help them. Bernard seized the opportunity to try again to make his proposal of marriage.
Miss Bianca would be most honored, he began, if you, but once again, he was interrupted by this huge python rearing up of the river. Jake was on the scene at once. "No mice for the day, Twister," he yelled at the python and commandeered the snake to take them on their way through the outback. "And now you're not going to give us any trouble about it," he ordered.
Together, 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 everyone. Together, together, come on, let's have some fun. Together, we're there for each other every time. Together, together, come on, let's do this right.
McLeish had taken Cody to a secret hideaway in an old open mill. He was desperate to find out where the eagle's nest was, but Cody would tell him nothing. Don't you realize a bird that size is worth fortune? I'll split the money with you, 50-50. You won't have any money after the Rangers have finished with you, Cody said calmly.
McLeish had enough. He decided to lock Cody up in his dungeon. I'll give you a night time here to think it over, he snarled. But tomorrow, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Cody looked around and saw that he was surrounded by caged animals. Well, said a koala called Krebs. It looked as tough McLeish has begun trapping his own kind. There's no hope for any of us now.
But there must be a way out of here, said Cody. The koala, kangaroo, platypus, and kookaburra team looked convinced, and a small lizard called Frank agreed. Together, the animals set about trying to get hold of a bunch of keys hanging on the far wall. But just as Frank shrinking, You got it! Jonah poked her head through a cut. Slapping the door, she looked from side to side, easily flicking her tongue. Then she snarled. The keys bugged. Cody and the others looked at one another in despair. Now what will they do?
Upstairs, Joanna's evil boss was about to cook himself some eggs. Joanna slithered in and sneaked an egg into her big mouth, then another. By the time McLeish turned around, there were none left. Joanna! He roared. I'll give you platypus eggs, snake eggs. Why? I'll even give you eagle eggs. But stay away from my... McLeish stopped suddenly, and a nasty grin spread across his face. The eagle's next, he laughed. That's the boy's weak spot! Down in the dungeon, Frank was trying to pick the lock off his cage with his tail. At last, he succeeded and scampered over to get the bunch of keys. But it was the same old story. As soon as he had the key, Joanna burst in. After a chase, which ended with Frank riding on Joanna's back, McLeish appeared.
Well, if I didn't know any better, the poacher sneered at Cody. I think you didn't like it here. He grabbed Cody roughly. Come on, boy, he growled. Say goodbye to your little friends. It's the last you'll ever see of them. Across the outback, a ranger was knocking on the door of Cody's house. When Cody's mom answered, the ranger handed her a tattered backpack. It was Cody's. His mother clutched it and began to cry. But the rescuers never gave up hope. They found their way to the opal mine. As Miss Bianca, Bernard, and Jake stood in front of a massive iron gate that suddenly swung upwards, they hopped onto the door and watched and listened.
Get out of here, McLeish told Cody. Go on. Cody couldn't believe his ears. It's all over, boy, McLeish went on. The bird's dead. Someone shot her right out of the sky. And she could have been mine if it weren't for you. Now, you better get out of here before I change my mind. Cody didn't need another invitation, and he quickly started to walk away. McLeish turned to his lizard. Too bad about those eggs. Joanna, he said in a loud voice. You'll never survive with your mother. Oh well. When Cody heard those words, he ran off into the outback. Bernard and Miss Bianca looked at each other in confusion. Suddenly, an engine roared into life. It was McLeish's bushwalker truck as it passed beneath the gate. Jake leaped into the truck's lane, but Bernard and Miss Bianca jumped too late. They landed on the bushwalker caterpillar truck, and Jake had to throw them a line to help them to a safe hiding place under the chassis.
McLeish dragged Cody across the outback until they reached a clearing beside a canyon. Jake saw Cody clamber over the edge of the cliff. Come on, Jake said to the rescuers. We got to warn him. The three mice ran quickly and looking down, soon saw Cody in the eagle's nest, covering the eggs with grass and feathers. The mice scampered down and Cody was amazed when he saw them. "Who are you?" he asked. "There's no time to explain," Miss Bianca replied. "You're in great danger." Just then, Cody heard a familiar squawk and looked up into the sky. "Marahood!" he cried. "She's alive!" The rescuers had to make him understand. "McLeish is on the cliff!" Bernard yelled. Cody looked up and saw the bushwhackers jutting over the cliff. On it was a rocket launcher pointing straight at Marahood. Cody shouted, "Launcher!" pointing straight at Marahood. Cody shouted a warning to the eagle, but it was too late.
McLeish fired the warning to the eagle, but it was too late. McLeish fired the rocket and caught Marahood in a huge net. Cody wasted no time. He leapt out of the nest off the edge of the cliff and grabbed the net. Moments later, Jake threw a lasso around Cody's leg. Jake and Miss Bianca swung off the cliff, but the rope slipped through Bernard's hands, and he was left stranded.
Helping each other helps us all, by Del Sur. Helping each other helps us all. It doesn't matter if you're short or tall. Helping a senior shovel the walk, deliver garden veggies around the block. Sometimes people don't believe the same. You must overdo and stop the blame game before you sleep at night. And you talk to the man above. Think of those people that need extra love. If everybody did one helping act per day, we would have very few problems along the way. Helping each other helps us all, by Del Sunan.
This stopped the crane that was lowering Cody, but did not help him for long. McLeish shot through the rope and Cody splashed into the water. Back on land, Joanna spotted Bernard and charged at him. At the same time, Bernard scampered toward McLeish. There was a big crash and all three fell into the river. Ah! Bernard swam strongly to save Cody. Joanna managed to get to the riverbank, but McLeish was chased by the crocodiles and swept towards the huge waterfall. Suddenly, he shot over the edge and there was a loud scream as he disappeared into a cloud of spray.
In the bushwhacker, Miss Bianca and Jake managed to unlock the cage and set Marahood free. They jumped on the eagle's back as she flew at full speed towards the waterfall. They were just in time, for Cody and Bernard were swept over the edge. Marahood dived and caught them expertly. Miss Bianca was delighted. "Oh, Bernard," she cried, "you are the hero of the day."
Bernard realized that this was surely his opportunity at last. Miss Bianca, before anything else happens, he said quickly, "Will you marry me?" Miss Bianca was amazed. "Bernard, of course I will," she replied, giving him a big hug. Cody and Jake were pleased for their friends. "Come on, Marahood," laughed Cody. "Let's all go home." With the powerful thrust of her wings, Marahood soared up through the clouds into the light of the moon.
And this is the end of the story, The Rescuers Down Under. Story written by Neil Morris. I hope you learned something.
We're all in this together. Once we know that we are, we're all stars, and we see that we're all in this together. And it shows when we stand hand in hand, make our dreams come. We're all in this together. When we reach, we can fly. Now inside, we can make it. We're all in this together. Once we see, there's a chance that we have, and we take it.
Kamusta ka? Panahon na naman ng tagipit ngayon. Naway nasa mabuti kang kalagayan. Ngayon ay matutunghayan mo ang kwento ng 5 times. Story ni Jeanette C. Patindon. Iginunghit ni Sergio T. Bumatay III. Sabi ni Mamang, ito'y panahon na naman ng tagipit, kaya't kailangan maging matatag. Walang silbi ang pagdaing mainam ng magpasalamat sa anong maaari na pa namin matanggap. 2 itlog dati ang kinakain ko sa almusal. Ngayon, 1 na lang at hindi pa yan araw-araw. Pero masaya ako't may kinakain akong itlog. Ang timpla ko dati sa inumin kong tsokolate ay talagang matsokolate. May 3 nag-uumapaw na kutsara ng pulbos ng tsokolate. Ngayon, 1 kutsara na lang ang maaari kada timpla ng inumin. At hindi rin yon araw-araw. Pero masaya ako't meron pa akong tsokolating naiinom. Kinakain ko ang itlog ngayon ng dahan-dahan at ang iniinom ko ang tsokolate ng mas mabagal. Nakakapagtaka kung paano ang mga itlog at tsokolate ay mas malinamnam nitong nakalipas na mga araw.
Sabi ni Papang, itong panunay tagpit. Kaya't kailangan natin gamitin ang ulo. Ang ginto ay hindi basta napupulot sa kalye. Kailangan natin ito hanapin. Natanggal sa trabaho si Papang, kaya nagtatrabaho na lamang sa loob ng bahay. Nagkukumpuni ng mga kagamitan, paglilinis ng mga kasangkapan, at tumutulong din sa aming mga kapitbahay na magkukumpuni ng kanilang kagamitan. Pag-uwi ni Mamang galing sa trabaho, ang mga paa niya ay tinaas ni Papang sa sopa. Habang minamasahe ni Papang ang mga paa ni Mamang, dinalahan namin si Mamang na tubig na yelo sa lamig at konting puto para kainin.
Namamasyal kami sa mall tuwing Sabado o Linggo. Ngayon, nasa bahay na lang kami at nagdodrawing o tumutugtog ng gitara o nakikipagsayaw kay Mamang o paghahalaman kasama si Papang. Birthday ni Mamang ngayon. Dahil hindi kami makabili ng mga regalo para sa kanya, iginawa na lang namin siya ng regalo. Iginuit ko siya suot ang mahaba, ginintuang, dilaw na damit na may koronang gawa sa sampagita at malaki at pulang puso sa paligid.
Tumutugtog ng gitara si Manong at kinakantahan si Mamang habang nakikipagsayaw si Papang sa kanya. Pinaikot-ikot niya si Mamang tsaka hinapapalapit at habang hinawakan niya na marahin, habang tangan ni Mamang ang bungkos ng sampagita na binigay ni Papang mula sa maliit ng taniman. Pumatok si Tiyang Gracia, ang aming kapitbahay, para pasalamatan si Papang sa pagkukumpuni ng mga kandado niya sa tindahan. Meron din siyang bitbit para sa amin, isang birthday cake para kay Mamang, isang malaking pakete ng tsokolate at maniniwala ka ba, 2 dosenang itlog?
Araw-araw, ganito ang nangyayari. Mga kapitbahay na humihingi ng tulong sa pagkukumpini ng kanilang mga gamit at mga kapitbahay na bumabalik nagbibigay ng mga bagay na kulang kami. Araw-araw, ganito ang nangyayari sa amin. Natutuklasan ang kabutihan na may bagay na meron kami. Nagpapasalamat anumang biyaya at nagbabahagi ng kabutihan sa kapwa. Di nagtagal, lumipas ang panahong tagipit. Nakakita si Papang ng trabaho, mas maayos ang kita. Ngayon, nagkukumpini siya na mga gamit ng mga tao sa sarili naming talyero. Ang istorya ng 5 times.
Little Things by Julia A.F. Carney. Little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land.
Those the little moments habang though they be, make the mighty ages of eternity.
Thus the little errors lead the soul away from the path of virtue of instinct to stray.
Little deeds of kindness, little words of love, make our earth an island, like the heaven above.
Little Things by Julia A. F. Carney.
Hi, how are you? Today we'll tell you a story. It's all about the rainbow. It is a part of Swan Secret Stories written by Caroline Aston. In the beginning, the world is still and quiet. The ground seemed to be covered with rock and stone. But if you took a closer look, you could see the round stones. But tiny people weren't moving at all. One day, a wind blew over the land, warming the people and filling them with life and love. As the wind blew, they began to move, speaking to each other and playing together. And they began to care about each other. As they explored their world, they found colored ribbons scattered all over the ground.
They were very excited and ran about collecting the ribbons, tying them around one another, and laughing at the bright colors. Some chose blue ribbons the best. Some chose red ones. Some took yellow and other green. Suddenly another wind, making them shiver. It didn't feel like the warm wind and began to feel frightened. Looking at each other, they saw that they looked different with their different colored ribbons and stopped trusting each other.
The people with red ribbon all gathered together and ran to the corner. Those with blue ribbons ran to another corner. The greens ran to another, and the yellows to another. They were huddled in 4 separate corners, as far away from each other as they could possibly get. They forgot they'd all been friends. The other color just seemed different and strange. Then, because they were afraid, they began to build walls to protect themselves and keep the others out. Before long, the red group found the plenty of food in the corner, but nothing to eat, so they grew hungry. The blues had food to live, but no water, so they became thirsty. The greens had twigs for fire, but no shelter from the wind and rain. And the yellows had shelter, but no fire was there anything to keep them warm. They all began to feel more and more miserable and helpless.
Suddenly, a stranger appeared and stood in the middle between them. He looked around in amazement at these people hiding behind their walls and said, "Come out, everybody! What are you afraid of? Let's talk to each other." At first, everyone just peeped out nervously at him. Then very slowly, they came out of their circle, their corners, and they stood around them in a circle. The stranger said, "What now? Why don't you give and just tell each other what you need to be given?" It took great effort to overcome their fear, but slowly they began to speak. The blue said,
We have plenty of food, but we badly need water.
The red said,
We got plenty of food, but nothing to eat. We need food.
The green said,
We have plenty of wood for fire, but nowhere to shelter from the wind and rain. We need shelter.
The yellow said,
We got a shelter, but no fuel for fire. We need one.
Why don't you put what you have together and share it? Ask the stranger, then you can all have enough to eat and drink and you'll all be warm and have shelter.
As they began to talk to each other, the warm feeling of love returned. They remembered they once with friends that underneath the colored ribbons, they're all the same. So they knocked down the walls that divided them and welcomed each other back as old friends. Now, when they realized the ribbons had caused their separation, they wanted to throw them away. But they knew they would miss the richness of those bright colors. So instead, they decided to mix them together and make a beautiful rainbow ribbon. And that's how they got their name. They called themselves the Rainbow People, and the rainbow ribbon became the symbol of peace. And that is the story of the Rainbow People.
What Can I Do For You by Robert Longley. Anything is possible. You only need to ask. Just tell me what is needed and I'm glad to do the task.
I just like helping others, that's why I wear the uniform. We're there for both good days and to protect you from the storm.
Share these words with others. There is still so much to do. Maybe more would help each other only if they knew.
These words have asked so many, I hope you ask those in need. And watch the magic happen, like water to a seed. What Can I Do For You by Robert Longley.
I've learned that working together is important because it helps us achieve what we want to do.
This is a nice story. I realized that you need to be kind and help others.
That was amazing. Now we realize that we can do anything for as long as we are helping each other.
Now, I have learned that we need to be united to help one another.
Teamwork by Edgar Albert Guest. It's all very well to have courage and skill, and it's fine to be a counted star. But the single digit with its touch of thrill doesn't tell the man you are. For there's no lone hand in the game we play. We must work to a bigger scheme. And the thing that counts in the world today is how do you pull with the team. They may sell you praise and call you great. They may single you out for fame, but you must work with your running mate, or you'll never win the game. Oh, never the work of life is done by the man with his self-esteem, when the battle is lost or the battle is won by the spirit of the team. You may think it's fun to be praised for skill, but the greater thing to do is set your mind and set your will on the goal is just in view. It's helping your fellow man to score when his chances hopeless seem. It's forgetting itself till the game is over and fighting for the team. Teamwork by Edgar Albert Guest.
After hearing the stories, the four friends learned something from it. They have learned that in order to achieve a certain task, they must be united, and that unity always begins in them. Suddenly, they heard a strange noise, and then all of them disappeared from that world.
They realized it was all a dream as they woke up in the morning. They called each other and planned to meet again to talk about their project.
Guys, I dreamt last night that I was teleported to another world.
What? That happens to me too.
Same as me. We have the same dreams. That's cool. It feels like it was real.
Mine too, but I learned something from it.
Me too. I have learned that working together can help us achieve our goal.
Yes, that's true. I apologize for what I did at the last meeting. I'm sorry also.
Me too.
Same, it made me realize that we need to be united.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes.
The golden rule: to do to others as I would that they should do to me will make me gentle, kind and good, as children ought to be.
And the four friends realized the importance of being united, so they decided to help one another to achieve their goal.
Everybody make some noise. Come on, scream and shout. We are right because it's not together. And we wouldn't we're all in this together. Once we know that we're almost in the started.
We're all in this together, and it shows when we stand hand in hand to make our dreams come true. Together, 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 everyone. Together, together, not just someone. Together, everyone, stronger every time. Together, together, all the truth is right.
Everybody make some noise. Come on, scream and shout.
We live our lives because we stuck together. Champions. We're all in this together. One we know that we're all together. And we need that we're all in this together. And it shows that we're happy and we're happy. We're all in this together. When we reach for the time, we can make it. We're all in this together. Once we see there's a chance that we have, we make it. Everybody say everywhere. When we have in the air, that's the journey to where we're all in this together. Once we know that we are stars, and we see that we're all in this together. And it shows when we stand hand in hand. We're all in this together. When we reach, when we we can make it. We're all in this together. Once we see there's a chance that we have, we make it. Everywhere. When we're in the air, that's the journey to
And this is the story of The Unity Begins in Me by Patches class. I hope you learned something. Let's always unite as one community. We are one. We are strongest, working together in unity. Teamwork is the key to living life in harmony so that we can do God's will. Thank you for watching.
As what Dr. Montessori say, the greatest gift that we can give to our children are the roots of responsibility and the wings of independence. It has been a fruitful and meaningful year to all of us. We may experience challenges in our life, but we have continued to be hopeful and hold on to the promises of our God. To our dear parents, teachers, staff, and school administrators, we thank you for your continued support. We have made this online class possible because of you. This is a simple gift of our dear children to all of us. I would like to congratulate you children for your efforts and to all the parents who help us in making this virtual literary presentation possible. It is indeed true that we can always achieve anything by being united. Children, take this opportunity to thank your parents also for their never-ending support to all of you. God calls us to live in unity with one another. So it is important to make every effort to live together in harmony with everyone. Once again, congratulations, Pachi class! God bless us all. Thank you!
Tayo ay manalangin. Sa ngalan ng Ama, at ng Anak, at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Aming Panginoon, may gawa ng lahat. Lubos ang aming pagpapasalamat sa mga biyayang pinagkakaloob mo sa amin araw-araw. Panginoon, salamat sa mga talentong iyong pinagkaloob. Kami ay nagkagalak dahil naibabahagi namin sa iba. Nagpapasalamat kami sa patnubay at sa gabayan na ibinigay mo upang maging matagumpay ang gawing ito. Dalangin din namin ang kaligtasan ng aming mahal na paaralan, mga guro, mga magulang at kapwa kong mag-aaral. Itinataas namin ang aming mga hangarin at pangangarap sa iyo. Magyari nawang maranasan ng lahat ang pag-ibig na nagdulot ng kaligtasan at awa ni Hesukristo na nagbubuhay at naghahari kaisa ng Espiritu Santo magpasawalang hanggang. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama at Anak at Espiritu Santo. Amen.